Okay, so let's get this bad boy up and running. Go through Team 2's statement regarding Blizzard's latest big old. I was going to say carafe of issues. Then I was like,
stream content live.
How do I do this?
Windows P.
By the way, I didn't say how do I do this is like an actual question. I was like,
No, he's a boomer. He doesn't even know what computers are. Don't trust him. Don't trust him.
All right, a message from the World of Warcraft team. Now, I will say, just a bit of context before I go into this. I have heard from multiple people that Team 2 is basically going rogue with its own statement, like against Activision. Maybe this is that. Who knows? But let's take a look. A message from the World of Warcraft team. It was clear from our team conversations that we wanted to put forth a statement that was representative of the World of Warcraft team sentiments. We asked all team members to send us their suggestions and feedback on how to best address the community, and this is the result. Fair enough. Big message from all the team. Past days have been a time of reflection for the World of Warcraft team, spent in conversation and contemplation full of sadness, pain, anger, but also hope and resolve. I do believe that to be true. As we heed the brave women who have come forward to share their experiences, we stand committed to taking the actions necessary to ensure we are providing an inclusive, welcoming, and safe environment both for our team and our players in Azeroth. Those of us in leadership understand that it is not our place to judge when we have achieved our goals, but rather for our team and community to let us know when we still have more to do. I don't like bringing video game things in, given the context of this statement, but I wish they would do that for player feedback. But certainly this is correct. That is a good read of leadership, and certainly, I can't say anything specific. I've just heard a few people talk about how Ian has conducted himself throughout all of this bullshit internally, and it's generally stuff that's like, you know what, actually, good job, Ian. You've stood up for your people.
It seems to have stepped up when his role as leader's been been needed.
Now, there is the whole thing of, here, like, okay, but is there still problem people there? What's going on? Who knew about what? Did WoW team leadership know there was problems? I mean, most WoW team members knew that, say, a certain C-suite person is a big coke fiend.
Yeah.
Sniffy sniff. Most people at Blizzard knew about Alex. There's a few other stories where most people at Blizzard knew. It's just like, any of those, too much drinking in the office. It's like, there's lots of gray area things where it's like, we can't know. We can't know without like fully diving into the team. But there is just always that thing. You see Chris Metzon's statement from earlier and you're like, yeah, but Chris, I mean, you looked pretty chummy with Alex Afrasabi at, even one of those BlizzCons, right? Like, how did you not know? Yeah. Or, that story of the person who was at Frank Pierce's executive suite along with Alex Afrasabi and his sister and a bunch of Blizzard execs. And it's like, well, clearly these people all knew.
Yeah.
So it's like there's just always those bits. And I imagine that's the stuff that has indeed created the anger, sadness, and pain for people in the WoW team. While we turn to our team for guidance in our internal work to protect marginalized groups and hold accountable those who threaten them, we also want to take immediate action in Azeroth to remove references that are not appropriate from for our world. This work has been underway, and you will be seeing several such changes to both Shadowlands and WoW Classic in the coming days.
Wonder.
The Alex Afrasabi references, gone. We know that in order to rebuild trust, we must earn it with our actions in the weeks and months to come. But we go forward knowing we share the same vision as our community about creating a place where people of all genders, ethnicities, orientations, and backgrounds can thrive and proudly call home. That is a generally very agreeable statement, I would say.
All that's left now is for the visuals of those, like the actual, what we see of this stuff going, like, in action. So I guess that really means heads rolling. I think that's the next thing.
We just don't know exactly what that's going to mean right now because
that's true.
All these things are going to be going on over the next, months and maybe even years as internal investigations happen, as stories come out and things like that. I mean, for sure, I absolutely want Team 2 and all of that stuff to be a good place for people to work in.
Of course.
Because that's right. It's not even because it's good for the game. It's because it's right and it's how it should be. And they should be demanding this stuff. And from what I understand, a lot of people at Blizz knew about these problems, did actually report these problems, but then the Blizzard company HR didn't take them that seriously. And I think a lot of people on the WoW team are in this situation where they know there's problems going on, they're frustrated by them, but they haven't been able to affect that much change. Because, but then it's like, they also still like World of Warcraft, but like it's their job. They can't really just quit. And, because they're all going through the trenches together, they're going to feel like, oh, well, if I quit, I'm going to, leave my mates behind and, stuff like that. It's interesting. Like maybe I'm having a different read in this just because I know the context of this potentially being a statement that is the World of Warcraft development team going a bit rogue and that Activision Blizzard actually didn't really want them to do that.
Yeah.
That could be the case, or this could be a sanitized version of what they truly wanted to post because, maybe it's a situation of, yeah, sorry, we caught wind of this and, you guys don't have access to the Twitter account. Like, I don't know. It's like, are you ever going to be seeing a whole bunch of the old justice or whatever going on in a statement like this? No, something like this is always going to be a statement of intent and that kind of thing. But at the same, time, it's like, this is all well and good. And I'm sure for loads of Blizzard staff, this is all well and good. But all they actually want to see is, far more action. Far more like, did these people know?
Yeah,
what's going on? Asmongold reacted to the tweet.
Yeah,
Do people want me to check that out?
Yeah.
He said, this is great, but what about the testimonials of people working in awful conditions? It's great you're deleting an NPC. Wow, great job, really. How about less performative action and more real action? Like true and fair enough. I think for the Alex thing, though, it's just that Alex was like so clearly a smarmy slime ball that they're like, hang on, we must remove this guy from the game. Now, there's also a lot of people bring up Swifty. All I know with Swifty is there was a whole bunch of allegations of, the big sex and stuff and it being improper, but then a whole bunch of people called the person into question. And I think Swifty's, like, I have literally not looked into any of this other than I have an understanding that the community is, I think, generally, sort of Swifty's, his name is clear.
Yep.
But his NPC's not back in the game. And I suppose people also think about, the voice actor for Kelthus. Quentin Flynn.
He got done so dirty.
Yeah, where from what I understand, there was a whole bunch of allegations against him. Then I believe those were like disproven or something. But he didn't get back in the game. They hastily recast him, and now it's just awkward and weird.
Yeah, they recast him basically instantly, based on allegations from one person, which actually like allegations from one person is not a disparagement because all it takes is allegations from one person to be correct to actually be indicative of what he's done. But in this case, the allegations were very quickly cleared. Contacts for things that were called into question were provided, and then the person was from his side when he gave his understanding of events, the person was someone who'd stalked him for years and was of generally very disreputable character who was a proven liar.
Okay,
and
right.
I don't know if what she was saying was specifically proven to be lies, but my understanding of it is Quentin Flynn hasn't done anything wrong, basically. But there's never going to be, there's never going to be anything there. So it feels like, from the general World of Warcraft team, it feels like if the same swiftness isn't brought to bear on their own, or those wrongs aren't righted, then it rings a bit hollow, which I think is maybe not entirely fair because action does take time. But if action doesn't take time internally, but it takes time for external people, then...
Well, it's because if it's for external people, then that's managing risk as a business,
yeah,
which is very different to how this is going to be handled.
Yeah.
You could say, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I think why this rings a bit hollow is, to some people, I know that this exists. Like, I have heard people say that, this is what they've heard from people who, were on the big call and are in Team 2, active members right now, that basically everyone there is fucking furious over this and is especially furious at Fran Townsend and, the Activision Blizzard sort of king people and, the official sort of legal statement that Activision Blizzard released. But I suppose whatever happened, they weren't able to basically say that much. But I mean, this team is also walking out of work tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, they are backing up with some action. It's just how many people are still going to be there. Will bad people still be protected? What's actually going to happen? Right now, it's impossible to know. There are some people who are, I have a few people in mind, but I don't want to. I'm very aware that, like, if I say those names, it will have extreme big, implications in people.
Yep.
And it's the sort of thing where it's just what I've heard from the grapevine, admittedly, from a few people. And I am seeing other people post under certain people's solidarity tweets that, like, hey, you're a snake. That rings false. But it's like, I know that there's a few cuttlefish in the team.
Yeah.
Cuttlefish, right? It's like, it's a wee bit smaller. It's an ambush sort of, sneaks up, chameleon style. It's just very different from me. Hey, I'm Alex Afra, fucking Sabi. I'm really drunk. I'm going to marry you. Let me touch your boobs. I'm Alex Afra Sabi, bro. Seems to be how he was, this like big alpha, sort of like all hyped up and loud and drunk versus the, sneaky modern way of doing it. Which, I'm still worried that there is a few of those sneaky cuttlefish, just swimming around the team, waiting to, get their claws in.
Yep. Well,
it's the sort of thing. At the same time, we can't just... Not can't, but it'd be a bit weird if their post was like, and by the way, we have fired all of these people, because that's kind of like naming people by name, and it would be impossible for them to do something like that so quickly.
Yeah, I think calls for immediate action are, they're not particularly, well, it's not necessarily
It's going to be
helpful.
clipped out of context. Oh, maybe it will be. Whoops.
Yeah, but I think that calls for action are indicative of real anger.
Yeah.
And I think that it takes time to commit these wrongs. It will take just as much time to write them correctly.
We'll do it. I'll take some time.
Especially because justice is slower than wrongdoing. How quickly can you burgle a store versus getting arrested and sentenced for it? Like,
yeah, and the whole thing about justice is so important that it has to be done right, and that means it just does take a little bit of time.
Because it would be absolutely horrible if something had happened. What happened to Quentin Flynn of. People saw the allegation and went, must be true. It would be just as vile if this happened to anyone in the team. Yeah. So it's like, actually, when complaints come in, do a little bit of work to vet them, ask honestly around the team, be like, yo, is this legit? And if so, then take immediate action. But don't just brush things under the rug. I think that's the gist of it. I think also it's less the react to complaints and more, if possible, keep an eye out.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's kind of the role of leadership now in large companies like these, where these cultural problems do exist. It does extend to actively reaching out to make sure everything's all right with people instead of just going, well, I've not heard anything, must be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Just being more proactive and keeping it good. Okay, so that's Team 2's response, I guess. We'll see if anything more comes out of this.